So everybody, we are just into the chapter where we have the functions, and in the functions we are going to talk about the various types of functions and all. Now whatever I will share and all, they will be appearing to your screen. So I wish all of you just check that your screen is working or not. So I'll just talk to one of you who will be unmuted. That is Manvi. Please unmute yourself so that I can get the information that you are
Yes,
getting
sir.
the uh, screen or not. Okay. So I'll just share my screen. Okay. Yes, Manvi.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll share my screen, and if you cannot see the screen, you will let me know. Okay. So let the people are coming in slowly. Okay. All the different things I will share. So the function, what is function, and all that I will share. Now, when I will be sharing that time, I will ask you the question that you can see or not. So if you cannot see, you will let me know. Okay. So just okay. I'm going to share the screen where I will show you my. Just 1 second. Okay. People are coming very late, very late. Anyway, let them come in. So we are going to see some of the. Can you see the screen, Manvi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And today I'm going to discuss about the method. So with this screen only, we will be checking our programs, method programs and all. So before I check into the method programs, this is the first thing I will do is that what is method? The definition I'm going to say. So you are going to note down if possible. If possible, please note down this one. Yes, some people are still coming in. Okay. A method is a set of programming statements that are grouped together and called by name to perform a particular task. It is also called a subprogram. So method is also known as a subprogram. So what is method? If the question appears, you can write the answers. A method is a set of programming statements. A method is a set of programming statements that are grouped together and called by name to perform a particular task. To perform a particular task. It is also called a subprogram. Now, this is the meaning of a method. So method is a part of a program. So when you can say it is a part of a program, you can say it is a subprogram. The program which is also called a subprogram. Now, when you are going to define a method, the methods, what is the utility of the methods? The utility of methods is reuse of code. So you can use the code number of time, and when you are using the code number of time, you have to understand that you are not writing the same code, only the name of the code, which is the code is means structured against a specific name, and that name you are going to call. Now, easy to debugging, that is a very important thing, is easy to debug. Debug means you can rectify the error very fast. You can rectify the error very fast. So if you want to rectify the error, then what happens in one place you rectify the error, that error is going to affect in all other places. So if I have used that function for 5 or 10 or 15 times, every times I have used this particular function, if I have to write, then it means if I make an error, that in 15 times I have to change. But when I am making a club of the statement in that single name, so in one place I am making the change, that change is going to make effect in all the places wherever I have used my functions. This is the utility. Next one is abstraction. Abstraction, to call or use a method in our program, we need to just name of the method we have to do. We have to call the name of the method, And what is a method does is method is doing some kind of manipulation, and what exactly it is doing, how exactly it is doing, we don't have to know those things. Without knowing, we can just call the method. And if I call the method, what will happen? The method will be executed in my program. So the process which have been done at the background will be executed in my program. So this is very interesting. You can keep that particular code safe also, because if you don't want to share the code to everybody, how the programming is doing and what exactly it is doing and all, if you don't want to share those part, then you can keep it secret. That is what exactly is the meaning of abstraction. So reuse, easy debugging, abstraction are the main points of this particular utility. So if I say the what are the utilities, I can say these are the 3 points. What are they? One is easy to debug, then reuse of code, and abstraction means data hiding is possible using the uh, using our methods. Next, classification of the methods. There are two types of methods are there. One method is called library functions, another method is called user defined functions. So we'll talk about them after this. Then what is the library function? The function that are predefined by the compiler. That means it is defined by the compiler. The function that are predefined by the compiler are known as library function. We have to only mention the functions, means we will just call the function. We have to only mention the functions. Prototype, like if you have used the max function, min function, and then short functions, square root functions, and over there you just have to mention the name. And when you have to mention the name, maybe with the help of the class name and all, you are mentioning the name. But that mentions of names is very simple thing you have done. Nothing else you have to do. Then you don't have to define the functions and all. But user defined function, programmer will define this function. The programmer is going to define this function, how this, what kind of manipulation you want to do, how to do the things, and everything will be defined by the programmer. So when the programmer is defining the function, that is called user defined functions. Programmer can define their function and call them as and when it is required. Means if you want to use them, you can call them as and when it is required for your program. Means in a class, if you want to manipulate anything, then you can do that. This is a very important part of it. Okay? User defined functions and library function, these are the main classification of the functions. So we are going to learn now the user defined function. I'll do a simple program for that on the screen. And Manvi, can you see I have started one program?
Yes, sir.
Manvi, are you there?
Yes, sir. You.
Yeah,
Yes,
can
sir.
you see the screen? On the screen, I'm going to start a function. So I'm just writing the name of the function is function learning. Now, when we write this function learning is already a class name is there. So, oh, sorry, I have given a blank space. So it's a function learning. Now we are looking at this function learning, and I'm going to open the code for this. If you cannot see the code, you will tell me, Manvi. Uh, I have opened the code. Can you see the code, Manvi? I think you cannot see the
Sir,
code.
it's opening. I
The
cannot
code
see
is
the board, but I.
code you cannot see. So we'll just say the code, okay? So I'll just go for the screen. Uh, Now can you see the code?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I have shared the screen now. All screen, every time I will change that you will be able to see. Okay, so here we go for the function code, and in this function code, what exactly the name of this is a function learning. Now in this function learning, here one thing is auto defined. This is called public function learning. This part is called the constructor. This is the constructor. Okay, so this part where my mouse is moving, this part is called constructor. Now I don't have to require, I don't have any X over here, so I'll just keep it. Okay, and this is the part where already one function is defined. The name of the function over here is given as sample method. The what is the synonym of the function is method. So what is the synonym of the function is method. Now when we look at the method, so in the method we have a different types of methods out there. So this is called a user defined method. A user will be defining this particular method. Here in this particular IDE, means integrated development environment of BlueJ, we get this particular function is already defined. Now here, what is the function type? Function type is a public type of function. I will just increase the size of the mm, text. Just you see that I will try to show you the size is increased so that you can see. Okay, now this is my method. Now this method is having a particular prototype and signature of the line. This is called signature, this is called signature, and this is a prototype. Okay, so what exactly is a prototype? Is a public int sample method int x and y. So we'll talk about this function signature and function prototype also. So what exactly over here, the function signature function, in the function name and the parameter list from the prototype of the function forms the function signature. So here you can see what is the function prototype. The first statement of function definition, which has the return type, you can see the public int is the return type. Okay, so first line of the first statement of function definition, which has the return type, function name, parameter, data type, and variable is called function prototype. So this particular line is completely a function prototype. You can see I have chosen the particular line. That line is called function prototype. Now when you look at this function prototype, inside this I have this all return x and y. Everything is totally is a function prototype. And whereas only the first line here, in if the function returns what is the function signature, function name and the parameter list, that means from here to this is called the function signature. This is called function signature, this is called function prototype, and this is called function signature. So we have to understand this carefully. It's written in your book. You can check the definitions and all. So when we look at this here, what exactly we call them? This is called access specifier. Public is called access specifier. Then we have a return type. And here, one thing is not given. This is very important part is not given, is a prototype. The prototype is not given. What is the prototype? Means you can give a static, you can, if you don't give it is a static, then by default it is a dynamic function. Static function is called the class function, and dynamic function is called the object function. So when you want to call a function directly with the class name, they are called class function. Now how to identify a class function? You have already used math.pow. So math is the name of a class and pow is the function. So how to call that function pow? With the help of the keyword called math. Math is what? The name of the class. So directly using the class, you are creating the, you are calling the function. But any other function, any dynamic function cannot be called by the class name. First you have to create the object, and then through the object you have to call the method. So that is the meaning of dynamic method. So how the dynamic method is different from the class method? Class method is always called with the help of the class name, that is called static method. So class method is also known as static method, whereas the dynamic method is a normal method which need to execute with the help of the object. Unless and until you create an object, you cannot execute the method. So here we go. This is a method. The name of the method is sample method. Here int is a return type. And next point is the function name. So sample method, which I am selecting, that part I am discussing. This sample method is called the function name. And here, this part where it is written inty, This is called parameter. Now here I have only used one parameter. You can use number of parameter. But whenever you are going to use any parameter, you have to understand each parameter should have a data type. Like here inty indicates y is an integer type of data. Similarly, if I go for other things, we can go for other numbers. By default, you declare a variable, sorry, a return type is void. In generally, you declare void, public, void, display. In your copy book here and there, whenever you write a program, you write public void. The meaning of void is also a type of data type, return type. Remember, void is a data type which is used in Java. I told you again and again, which is not discussed in your book or in the other places. So void is a return type, means data type. Always a method returns a data type. But then what you say there is no return statement with a void. But actually with a void, return is optional. Why optional? Because by default, if you don't return anything, it executes on statement called return. I'll show you those all in this program today. Now I'm going to look at the simple this particular method. This method is what one method I am creating, and this method I'm going to use. Now here I am going to use two values x and y. So how I have to give another parameter, I will write int x. So I have got two values. One is x, another is y. And here in this constructor, I have not used anything. So it will not be executed directly. Why it will not execute it directly? Because constructor by default executes the code whatever you have written in the constructor at the time of object creation. But here, when while creating the object, I have not written any code over here. This also we can do without writing any code. I can keep my constructor. If you don't define this constructor, system will define the constructor like this only. This is called default constructor. You have already gone through chapter 4, so there you have learned that default constructor. This is the called default constructor. So I'm just going to compile this one. I'm going to show you the execution of this particular program. Here, no syntax error. You can see at the bottom, it is appearing no syntax error. So I'll just close it. I think everybody can see. Manvi, can you see? Manvi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to call this particular object, I'm going to create the object of this particular class function learner. So when I'm going to execute this one, I will go for OK. Now you can see over here in the object, look at the object, everybody please watch the object carefully. And in the object, you can see that it is written function learning one, and the name of the object is function learning one, and from which class it is been created, that is called function learning. Now I'm going to right click over here. As soon as I right click, I will get my function's name displayed over here. That is the name. It is what? Sample method. Int, x and y. Remember, whenever you are going to return any value from the function, that needs a receiver. Here, as there is no receiver, no variable, no database where it can receive the value, it will receive the value on your error device. The name of the error device you are using is your screen. So without printing, it is going to print on the screen. Very carefully watch this one. I'm going to execute. I'm going to write the two values. Here I give the two values as 8 and say 14. So total is 22 is going to display. Watch carefully. The 22 is appearing on your screen. Can you see int result 22, Manvi?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that 22 is appearing on the screen. Why it is appearing on the screen? Because whenever you are going to return any value, that value needs a receiver. And as there is no receiver over here, when the after execution, when it is returning the value, your standard error device is receiving the value, and that value is coming on the screen. So you can see on the screen, it is coming 22. How this 22 is appearing? This 22 is appearing with the help of this particular code. You can see in the code I have returned x plus y. This return is a keyword. Return is the keyword which should be used within the function. Now, as the function is manipulating the integer data, you can see I have taken x and y, the two integer data, and after manipulating these two data, I will be getting the result in integer. So when I am getting the result in integer, I am throwing that integer value. And how I am throwing the integer value? Because I have already mentioned my return type as int, public int sample method. Int is the type of data I'll be throwing. I have already declared. So when I am declared that particular int, I am throwing x and y. By mistake, if you try to throw something else, just watch carefully. I'm going to change some value, that is 7.9. Now 7.9 is a double value. So when actually we add these three and I try to declare this 7.9, you can see a error is appearing on the down, loss of precision. What is the meaning of loss of precision? Because here I have declared my return type as int and I am trying to return a value which is 7.9 to be added with the existing integer value. So when I add an integer with a double, it always become a double. So when I am going to get a value double and my return type is int, it is not possible to return that value. So what I have to do, I have to change this value into double. So if I change the value into double, see, watch carefully, my complication is released and there is no syntax error. Can you see, Manvi? Please respond to me. That's why I asked you to unmute yourself always.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now you
Yes,
can
sir.
see here, I have given the value 7.9. There is no error. Why there is no error? Because I have changed my return type to double. That means when I add integer with a double, it always converts into double. So very important thing is that integer plus integer equal to integer, integer plus double equal to double. So very interesting thing, this one. These codifications I have explained you in class 9, I remember. So when I go for integer plus integer, integer plus float equal to float, integer plus double equal to double. So always remember this particular calculation. That will be helping you while you are writing a particular function. So what type of value I am going to return, that type of explanation I have to give here. So integer plus integer is double. Yes, integer plus integer also can return be double because it can be automatically converted into double. That is the reason this double is allowed. But here you cannot allow a smaller data type over here. Now integer plus integer is integer. Yes, it is an integer. No problem over here. So we have to understand few things very carefully. Like from the that is what exactly quotient, and that is what exactly is a conversion of a forceful conversion of a data into another data type, and automatic conversion of data from one data type to another data type. So you know, implicit and explicit conversion of the data types, quotients and the auto conversion, that is what exactly is happening over here. So I explained you a simple functions over here. The name of the function is sample method. You can check, that is the simple sample method I have written, and I'm explaining the functions. So anybody having any doubt on these functions can ask me the question. I will explain you. Anybody having any doubts can raise your hands. So can I move the forward then? Now, this is what exactly we have to understand. The inside the structure, this part, which I am selecting now is a part which is known as body of the function. This part is known as the body of the function. So function is having six different parts actually. One is access specifier, another is return type, another is modifier, another is function name, then parameter list, and then you come into the body of the function, and of course the keyword return. These are the various parts of the function. So if I just go for the structure of the function, I can say these are the function structures. Okay, Piashi is, what happened? Piashi is out and Piashi is in now. Okay. Now we move into the next point. Apart from these functions, we will look at the various other things of over here. Function definition can be written in various ways given below. So you can write the functions in the different way. The functions can be written. So let's just discuss a point over here. Here we have written a sample method. Now I will change the method name to anything. Like here, this is a simple addition. So when I look the method name, addition. So you have already completed this particular portion. That's why I think the people are just getting here and there. So anyway, we will check over here. So we get this addition. Now I will just go for the control C. And I'll just write the another time the same function. So very important thing, this one. So we will just discuss about this. Control V. Okay. So here in this one, I can write int. Now I have a very interesting functions over here. What are the functions there? You can see that two function, both the functions name is addition. You can see there are two, both the function and both the functions names are additions. So when we look at this addition, very important thing that in this both the functions, our name is addition. I think everybody can see both the functions names are addition. Now, if I compile
Yes, sir.
this, there will be any error or not? Manvi,
Sir.
both the functions names are addition.
Addition.
Is there any error over there?
So,
I have given the both the function name as addition. You have completed this chapter. I think I am revising this one. Biashi,
Yes, sir.
you can see the both the function name is addition. Is there any error over here?
No, sir.
Why? What is the rules
Sir,
it is following?
sir, because here function overloading is taking place, although the
Very good.
function
We are
name is
doing the
same.
functions overloading. Very good. Very good. So we are actually can give a same name to the multiple functions or multiple objects, and they will be used for various different purposes. Here, the purpose of this particular function is adding two numbers, and the purpose of this particular function is adding three numbers. So the purpose are different. Now, purpose, of course, not only the purpose are different, the data, number of datas are different. Two data, three data. Now I will just do one more thing. Just I will ask one more question now. Both of you be alert. Here I'm going to do some kind of here I write double, and here I write one is a double, so I have to convert that one into integer int, and I will write this. Okay, everybody. Now this is correct or wrong? Piyashi, Banoja, this is correct or wrong? Piyashi, tell me. Tell me, Piyashi, this is correct or wrong?
Sir, this is also correct.
Why it is correct now? Explain me.
So because the double y is being converted into int, and so when two ints are being
But there are two
added.
parameters in both the cases. Is it all right?
So here double y.
Yeah, you are right. This is parameters. Two doesn't makes any difference because the parameter types which is there in our functions, they are different. So in one place we have y, double y and intx, another place intx and inty. So very important thing is that we are having what type of data. In the parameter list, what are the type of data I am using? That is the main purpose, not the return type, not anything else. The list, parameter list should be different. So here two parameters, but they are of different types, it is allowed. There are three parameters, they are allowed. Now I'll compile, you can see there is no error over there. So automatically there is no error over here. So one place, if I want to pass the parameter double with integer, Another place I have parameter integer with integer. In another place I have parameter integer, integer, integer. Three different integers I have passed through. So very important thing is that this is called functions overloading. And function overloading means the same function name for various purposes it is used, and purposes are defined and differentiated with the help of the parameter list. So very important thing is the parameter list. It is not the value, it is not the data which is important. It is the important is the parameter list. Is it clear? I can see some of you, if you have any queries, you can ask me the question. Okay, anybody having any queries can ask me the question. Okay, so it's up to you. You have a question? Do you have anybody having any question about this three question? So please note it down. There is a purpose is not the big thing. It is called the function overloading, and how I have divided this function overloading and how the parameters are being differentiated and the functions are written. That is what exactly I have mentioned over here. After this, I will try to manipulate this function within my constructor, and how to manipulate this function within the constructor. I'll show you one or two over here. Just check carefully. I'm writing first one as a int v is equal to addition 78 comma 89, and next one int v1 equal to addition 7.9 comma 8, and then int v2 equal to addition 7 comma 8 comma 9. So very carefully watch. uh, First of all, I have defined the function. The function name you can see. The function name is addition, and the function definition I have done. Now through the constructor, I am calling the function. So this is called function calling. The portion which I have used first, those part when I have declared the function, those are called function definition, and the function when it is called within somewhere, that is called function call. So it is function is called within the class itself. I have called the function. So this is not required. This is called call by value, and there is no changes of the values on anything. So this is called call by value, and call by reference is a function when I call with the help of the object. I will show you later on that one. I'll try to, I don't know, I'll be able to show everything on the screen or not, because the time is limited. Uh, Now, anyway, this recording I will try to upload in the YouTube, and I will try to display that one on the screen. So the recordings, whichever is there, that will be given over there also. Control. Control V. Okay, now I have a variable 1 and a variable 2 displayed over here. So I'll just compile this one, and I will show you the output. Everybody watch the output carefully. The output is here. So I am calling this function. Now this time, all the things I have written the system.out.println and calling the function within the constructor. So very important things, when the constructor is called, those all things will be executed and output will appear on the screen directly. Can you see the output? Piashi and Manvi, can you see the output? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so you
sir.
can see the output here 167, 15 and 24, how they are coming. I have already shown you in the program. This is my functions. When I call this functions within the constructor, I have called the functions, and function is executed with the help of the 78 and 89 imposed to the addition, and over there y and x has been manipulated, and the whatever the value is calculated, that is returned into the variable v. Similarly, I have used the function 7.9 and 8. When I have given the 7.9 and 8, I have used this function, first addition function I have used, where double y and int x been gone, and then over there I have converted the double y into the integer y, and then I have added that one with the x, and whatever the value I received, that I received in the form of integer, and that integer is returned over there. So these are very simple question. This is the simple functions I have written. So how to define a user defined functions I have discussed. How to display execute those functions I have discussed. Now I will be asking few questions. Everybody please unmute yourself so that I can ask the question, and if you can give the answers it will be better. So what are the things we have learned? Everybody please, everybody unmute yourself. I'll just unmute everybody. I want everybody to be unmuted. I think few of you are left before yeah. Manoja, unmute yourself. Deepika Kumari, unmute yourself. Manoja, you are not unmuted. Krishna Das. Yes. Krishna Das, tell me, what you learned today
About the functions.
about the function, right? What are the functions you have learned? What are the different types of function we have learned? I have discussed about the normal functions, and I have discussed about the functions overloading. Next one, I have discussed about function definition, and I have discussed about function calling. I have already also told about the constructor, but I have not gone into the chapter. Anyway, I have just discussed various points like what are the parameters. I have discussed the function structure and what are the parts of the functions. Which one is the keywords in the function should be used is return. Remember, every function should have a return, and this every function should have a return type. So in generally we learned one small function, public void display. Their void is a return type. Remember that. And inside the function, we never write the word return. Why you don't write the return? Because return is a default. By default, there is a return statement is there. And by default, return statement indicates it returns nothing. The nothing is a word used for void. So we are in the last minute. We all can say goodbye today. And next, try to explain the others to attend the class properly. Otherwise, it is very difficult. This is the ICSE Council year. So we will be discussing more or less these functions once more, and then everybody should be there. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you, sir.